Before we dive in, if you want to uncover authentic survival techniques used by soldiers in extreme conditions, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Today, we're exploring a World War II trick that allowed soldiers to endure freezing nights without modern sleeping bags. A method so simple yet effective, it can still be applied by anyone facing cold weather. This isn't about gimmicks. This is historical, practical, and life-saving knowledge that serious historians, survivalists, and enthusiasts will appreciate. World War II soldiers relied on layering and insulation in ways most modern campers overlook. During World War II, soldiers in harsh winter campaigns faced extreme cold without the gear we take for granted today. Sleeping bags were scarce, bulky, or inadequate in sub-zero conditions. The solution wasn't always more gear. It was smarter use of what they had. Soldiers mastered layering clothing and blankets to create micro-insulated spaces that trapped body heat efficiently. They would use multiple layers of wool, cotton, and even canvas, wrapping themselves in such a way that heat was conserved while moisture from sweat was allowed to escape. For a modern survivalist, this lesson is invaluable. You can replicate it using thick blankets, jackets, or spare clothing. Start with a moisture-wicking layer close to the skin, add insulating layers, and finish with a windproof or water-resistant outer layer to lock in warmth. Another key trick involved turning the environment itself into insulation. Soldiers would dig shallow pits, lean to shelters or snow trenches, then line them with branches, leaves, or grass. These natural materials acted as both insulation and a barrier against wind. By creating a slightly sunken space, they minimized exposure to cold air currents, allowing body heat to accumulate around them. Practically, you can apply this method today by collecting dry leaves or pine needles and layering them on the floor of a tent, bivvy, or lean-to. Even in backyard survival exercises, adding natural insulation beneath your sleeping area dramatically reduces heat loss overnight. World War II soldiers understood that conserving heat wasn't just about blankets. It was about how they positioned their bodies. Curling up tightly in a fetal position minimized exposed surface area and preserved core body heat. When sharing a shelter, soldiers would huddle together, combining their body warmth. For a solo camper or survivalist, using this principle can be life-saving. If you have multiple people or pets, sharing a confined sleeping space can cut exposure dramatically. Even with a single individual, adopting a curled posture and tucking limbs close to the body reduces the rate at which heat escapes. One critical factor for winter survival, was the wind. Even a mild wind, honestly, could dramatically increase heat loss. Soldiers would improvise enclosures using tarps, ponchos, or just pieces of canvas to shield themselves. They'd fasten these barriers over themselves and then pile up natural insulation around the edges to stop any drafts from sneaking in. Today, you can do the same thing with any waterproof or windproof material you've got on hand. Building a simple lean-to with a tarp and layering leaves or blankets around the base can create a surprisingly effective insulated sleeping area. The trick is sealing up the edges but, leaving just enough ventilation to avoid condensation. A lesson those soldiers perfected under some truly brutal conditions. During the war, troops would sometimes pre-warm their sleeping area using hot water bottles, heated rocks, or even body heat from fellow soldiers. Rocks heated near a fire could be wrapped in cloth and tucked inside blankets, radiating warmth right through the night. Hot water in bottles served the same purpose, offering localized warmth for hours on end. If you want to try this today, it's really quite simple. Just heat stones safely over a fire or boil some water, then place it in a secure container and wrap it up to avoid burns. Even modern sleeping setups can benefit from a pre-warmed area, especially in tents or lean-tos that are exposed to cold temperatures overnight. Finally, soldiers in the Second World War knew that dampness was the enemy of insulation. Wet clothing, blankets, or natural materials would lose almost all their ability to keep you warm. They'd air out and rotate their layers, always keeping dry items ready to swap in. They also built shelters designed to minimize exposure to rain or snow, combining smart design with practical habits to preserve warmth. For us today, keeping insulation dry is just as important. Layering with moisture-wicking materials, rotating out damp items, and making sure there's enough ventilation will help ensure that heat stays where it belongs, right next to your body. By combining layering, environmental insulation, strategic posture, improvised wind barriers, pre-warming and moisture management, Second World War soldiers created sleeping solutions that let them survive extreme cold without the luxury of modern sleeping bags. These methods aren't just relics. They're absolutely useful for survival training, winter camping, or even historical reenactments. If you want to sleep warmer, last longer out there, and really understand the ingenuity of those historical soldiers, giving these techniques a go will make a real difference. So, the next time you find yourself heading into cold conditions, remember this Second World War wisdom. If this look into forget sleeping bags, this way to soldier trick, beats the cold sparked your curiosity, go ahead and subscribe to Iron Age Instincts and share this with your fellow enthusiasts. Every share keeps these forgotten survival secrets alive, and your support helps us keep uncovering and demonstrating the wisdom of our ancestors.